Hello all, this is Anis with you. Welcome to my channel. In this ASP.NET Core tutorial, we will see how to create a Crud application with foreign key. Let's see the demo of the application which we are going to make. This is the product module of the project Inventory Manager. Let's create a product by entering the required values. Yes, it is saved properly. Wow, we also get the beautiful alert message. This application has full sorting and searching functionality. Okay, that's it in the demo. Now let's see how the application is done. Hello all, making YouTube video takes lot of time and efforts. But all these efforts should have a meaning. So please like, comment and share this video. Thanks a lot. Let's continue to the tutorial. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get notified. The source code for this project can be downloaded from the displayed link. Please download the source code and do not forget to subscribe, share and like the video. Open the models folder and add a model, name it as product. This is going to be very important model. So please take little extra attention. Since this model is going to have relation with multiple tables like units, brands, categories, product groups and product profiles, we will focus more on this model. In the last video, we had added all the supporting tables. Now it's time for some serious stuff. In this product model class, add a public property named code. This property is going to be the primary key of our products table. So add the data annotation type key, then keep the length of the code to 6 by adding the string length attribute of 6. And next add another property named name. This property is also a required one. So add the required data annotation and then set the length of the name property to 75. This we do by using the string length of 75. Then after add a property named description and make this property also a required one by adding the required data annotation to the property head. Then after set the length of the property to 255. You may start thinking, why is he adding many properties and complicating things? No. I am trying to simplify things because in the YouTube you have seen many tutorials teaching the same thing. But upon checking, most of the YouTubers are just teaching with single table approach with fewer properties like 3 or 4. But I wish to give a detailed codes to handle a large table with multiple foreign keys. Sounds good, right? So stay with me and allow me to teach this to you. Next, add a property named cost and set the data type of the cost property to decimal. Then make this cost property to a required property by adding the required data annotation attribute. After that, include the system.componentModel.dataAnnotations.schema library to your project. Then after, add the column attribute and set the type name to small money. This is a very good and comfortable data type to store decimal values in SQL Server. I prefer to use this to store the fields like price, cost, etc. Next, copy the cost property and paste it below. Then after, change the property name to price. So now we have created the price property also. Next property is going to be a very important property, UnitID. Here we are going to store the ID of the selected unit and this column is going to be a foreign key column. First add a property named UnitID of type integer. Then add another virtual property of type unit and name it as units. This property is called as navigation property. After that, we need to create a relationship between unit ID and units table. So we add the foreign key attribute to the head of the UnitID property. Then set units as the target property for the foreign key. Here we set units as target, so it finds the units table in the database and create the relation between primary key of the units table and UnitID column of the product table. Okay, that's it. Save and let's do the migration to create the table in the database. For that, first click the tools menu followed by the NuGet package manager and then click the package manager console. Oh, I forgot an important step here. Before doing the migration, we must add this products entity to the DB context file. So open the inventory context file and add the products entity to it. After that, go to the package manager console. In here, type add-migration followed by adding product master in the double quotes and then press the enter key. Then wait for the command to get complete. Okay, now the add migration command is completed. So type update database and press enter. Then wait for the update database command to get complete. Wow, update database also completed successfully. So now we successfully created the product table. Let's browse the table in SQL Server Management Studio Express. In case if anyone has no idea on what is SQL Server Management Studio Express, it is a free tool to connect SQL Server and it has lot of features. Let me know if you like to have a tutorial on it. Now let's select the CodeFirst inventory database and refresh the tables folder. Notice now we can see the products table. Let's see all the columns of this table because it is a very important table. First column is the code column. Notice the code column. It is having a primary key and length is set to 6 because we set the key attribute in the property head of the code. Next is name and description column. Nothing new here. So let's move to the cost column. The data type of cost and price column is set to small money. So it is very easy to store decimal value in it. We will see more about this at the time of developing the repositories. Next, the UnitID column. This is the very important column. Notice the word FK before the data type. FK means foreign key. Let us see where it is created. Click the keys folder. See, there are two keys listed in it. First one is the primary and the second one is the foreign key. Then click new query and type sp_help space products. This will show the complete information about the products table. In here, notice in the constraints details table, which is boxed in green, it shows the constraint details. First column is the constraint type. Here the constraint type is foreign key. The next one is constraint name. After that, notice the constraints keys column. It shows the unit ID as column name, which is reference to the ID column of the units table. Okay, almost everything is covered about foreign key. From this, I hope you have understood on how to create the relation between tables using the foreign key attribute in the EF core. Next step is to create the repository. Wait, this model is going to have many fields, but we will add it later. First, let's complete the module to get a shape. Let's copy the iCategory interface and paste it in the same folder. Then rename the pasted file to iProduct.cs and open the iProduct.cs file. Some of you may ask, why should we create many interfaces? Because all the interfaces looks very similar, and can it not be done using the generic repository concept? Yes, you are right. It can be very much possible to do using the generic repository. But now please stay with my decision. We will create separate interface for each repository, as generic repository will leads to complications and confusions. Actually, both the approach is fine, but this is powerful than generic repository. Now we should rename all the occurrences of the word category to product. So press Ctrl plus F and enter category in the find text box. Then enter product in the replace text box. After that, make sure you selected the target as current document. Okay, all set. Click the replace all button now. Then change the variable name from unit to product. Do the same steps to achieve this. Now we are done with the product interface. Let's create the product repository. So go to the repositories folder. After that, copy the category repository and paste it in the same folder. Then rename the pasted file to product repo. Actually, there is no need to have the suffix repo or repository in the name of the file. It can be anything, but it will be very easy to understand when we give a name related to its purpose. Then after, open the product repo and load the find and replace dialog. In here, first change the word category to product using the find and replace method. Then rename all categories to products. Almost done. Only few errors. Let's check and fix those. The first error is ID field in the lambda expression. Actually, the product model does not have any property called ID. Instead, it has a property named code. So, change all occurrences of the word ID to code using the find and replace dialog. Then after, change the data type of parameter of code to string everywhere. This you need to do manually. Don't use the find and replace dialog. Then when you keep the mouse over the iProduct interface, it is showing some errors. But actually the errors are not in the repository. The errors are in the interface. So open the iProduct interface and change the getItem methods parameter type to string and change the parameter name to code. After that, in the isItemExist method, change the parameter type to string and parameter name to code. Then after, try building the application. Yes, it got built successfully. So we are done with the product repository. Let's make the product controller. And then next we have to create product controller. Before that, open the unit controller and copy all the code from the unit controller.cs. After that, create an empty controller and name it as product controller. Then delete the scaffolded code from the product controller.cs. Now paste the unit controller code from the clipboard and change the word unit controller to product controller. After that, change the constructor method name to product controller. And then change the type of the read-only variable to iProduct interface and change the variable name to underscore product repo from underscore unit repo. And now change the parameter type of the constructor method to iProduct and parameter name to product repo. And after that, set underscore product repo to product repo. Then in the index action method, change the type of the paginated list to product and change the name of the paginated list variable to products. And change the word underscore unit repo to underscore product repo. Now we need to change all the occurrences of the word units to product. So change all the occurrences of the word units to products in this method. Then in the HTTP get create method, change the variable name to product and change the type of the variable to product, and then inside the returning view pass the variable product instead of unit. Now we have to do the changes in the HTTP post create method. So in the HTTP post create method, change the input parameter type to product from unit and change the parameter name to product from unit. After that, change all the occurrences of the word unit to product in the HTTP post create method. In here, I did not use the find and replace window to do this because I want to make sure that I am doing only the required changes, because it is a very important method. So we don't want to have any errors here. Okay, now we are done with the create action method of the product controller. After that, in the details action method, change the variable type to product and variable name to product, and then pass the product variable to the returning view. Notice here I have changed the parameter type to string because our primary key column code is of type string. So I have changed the parameter type to string, but I have left the parameter name to ID. It doesn't matter. Then after, do the same steps to the HTTP get edit action method, because the HTTP get edit action method and the details action method are very similar and has the same code. After that, come to the HTTP post edit action method. In the HTTP post edit action method, change the parameter type to product and change the parameter name to product. Then after, change all occurrences of the word unit to product and change all the occurrences of word unit repo to product repo. Then let's go to the HTTP get delete action method. This is also very similar to the edit action method. So copy all code from the edit action method and paste it over here. Then change the parameter type to string. After that, pass the product variable to the view. Then locate the HTTP post delete action method. In the HTTP post delete action method, change the parameter type to product and change the parameter name to product. Then after, change all the occurrences of the word unit to product and change all the occurrences of the word unit repo to product repo. That's it. We are done with the product controller now. Next, we need to create the views for the product model. That is also a very big task. So let's do that. Copy the unit folder from the views folder and then paste the copied folder in the views folder. After pasting the folder, rename the pasted folder to product. Then open the create.cshtml from the product folder and then change the binded model of the file to product model. Then after, open the details.cshtml from the product folder and change the binded model to product model. Then do the same for the edit.cshtml also. After that, open the index.cshtml from the product folder and change the model to IEnumerable of product. After that, open the layouts.cshtml and copy the code of the units menu item and paste it below. Then in the pasted code, change the ASP-controller to product and change the text of A tag to products. Then we need to assign the repository class for the iProduct interface to product repo in the startup.cs. So open the startup.cs file and then copy the code which adds the unit repository class to the services collection and paste it below. Then after, change the interface parameter to iProduct and change the implementation parameter to product repo in the pasted code. After that, we forgot to do an important step. We need to change the item.id to item.code in all the CSHTMLs of the product folder wherever it is needed. So let's do it. Now let's build and run the application. Then let's log into the application using the username as Anis Mohammed and the password 123@test. After logging in, click the product submenu from the masters menu. Then after, click the create button to add a product. In the create screen, it is showing unit-create. It's supposed to show product-create. So open the create.cshtml from the product folder and change it to product-create. Then after, in the screen, we saw only 2 fields, but our product model has many fields. So let's add the missing fields before we run the application again. Let's add the column product code first. Code is the primary key of our table and it is not the identity column. So we enter the unique code for each item. We will see how to check the uniqueness of the code later. Let's add the price and cost column now. These are numeric columns and in the database these columns are created as small money columns. And next we need to add the unit field. Unit field is the foreign key column in the database. So we should keep a select list control and give the option for the user to select the unit. We also need to fill the select list. So in the controller we will write the code to fill this select list and will pass this to this view through the viewback. So let's add ASP-items equals to viewback.units. All set now. Let's run and check the output. See here, the unit select list is empty. So let's go to the controller to write the code to fill the unit select list. Notice there is no space between the select list and create button. This happened because we have not closed the select list properly. So let's close and see now the space appears between the select list and the buttons. Now we are in the controller. We need to fetch the units from the database. What is the best way to do this? Since we use repository pattern, we should not write the database related code in the controller. And we should add a method in the product repository to fetch the units. The best and the professional way to achieve this is pass the unit interface also in the constructor. So declare a read-only variable of type iUnitInterface and then add a variable of type iUnit in the constructor method. And then assign the variable underscore unit repo to the variable unit repo of the constructor method. Then after, add a method to fetch the unit select list. This method is little important because we have not seen any methods like this before in any of my tutorial. Then in the getUnit method which we just created, declare a variable named lst_units of type list of select list item. Then declare one more variable named units of type paginated list of unit. Then set this units variable to unitRepo.getItems by passing the sorted field name as name and sort order as ascending. Next, set the lst units equals to units dot select of ut lambda new of select list item, and in the parenthesis add value equals to ut dot id dot to string and set text equals to ut dot name, then close the parenthesis and add dot to list to it. Basically, this code will add all the units from the units table to the select list variable. Then after, we are adding a default select item and set the value to the default select item as empty string and text to select unit. Then notice we are inserting this default select list item in the 0th place so that it comes top of the list always, and finally return the lst units from the method. After that, locate the http get create method and then call the get units method and set the resulted select list to the viewback.units variable. Now we are all set to create our first product. So let's build and run the application. Wow, now the units are populated in the select list, but it is showing only 5 units, whereas we have more than 20 units in the database. What went wrong? Actually, if you open the unit repo, by default the page size is 5 and it fetches only the 5 items. To fix this issue, we will pass the page size in the get units method as 1000. That would be the maximum, I think. Then after, build and run the application again. Wow, now it is listing all the units. Let's create our first product. Since this software is designed to have all types of items, we will create our first product as Dettol floor wash. Enter the code as CI0001, CI for cleaning item, then add the description, cost, price, etc. After that, select the unit as bottles. Then press create button. Wow, our item is saved. Let's view the item we just saved. Oh, it's showing only 2 columns. So we'll have to change it to list all the columns. Open the index.cshtml from the product folder. Product folder is inside the views folder. After opening the index.cshtml, copy the first column head and paste above it. Then after, change the column name of the pasted column to code. Then after, add the price column, cost column and unit column in the same way how we did for the code column. Now we have finished the column heads. It's time to add the column rows. So come to the rows section. In here, copy the td tag of the name column and paste it above the name column. Then rename the item.name to item.code in the pasted text. After that, do the same steps for cost, price and for unit columns. The cost, price and code columns are similar, but unit column there is a slight difference in the approach because we want to show the unit name instead of the unit ID. So type model item lambda item dot units dot name. Then save and run the application. Oh, error. No worries, we will fix it. Actually, this error says we have not added the fields to the sort model. So, to fix this error, go to the controller and add the columns which needs to be added to the sort model collection. Now it is working fine. Let's add one more item to cross check the sorting capability. This time let's add cool drinks. So put the code as CD0001, then enter name and description as Fanta and enter cost as 0.50 fills and price 2 dirhams. Then select unit as scan. After that, press the create button. Okay, it has saved successfully. Let's check the sorting function. It is working fine. But if you see, it looks like all columns are getting sorted properly, but it is not. We have written sorting code only to name and description. So we have to write code for the other columns as well. This we have to do it in the repository. To learn more about how sorting works, please watch my sorting module. I will keep the video link in the description. Notice in the listing, unit name is not appearing. This is because we are not populating the unit object with product. To do that, go to the product repository and locate the getItems method. And in the getItems method, change the link query to add .include of u lambda u.units. This is called as eager loading. In the eager loading, you load the relative values also along with the primary table. Here, units is the related table and product is the primary table. So now we are loading units also along with the products. Let's check the output by running the application. Look here, now the respective unit name is also displayed along with the products. If you wanted to learn more about eager loading, I have a video titled Eager Loading versus Lazy Loading in my channel. Please watch it. Next, we will do the edit module. Notice if you click edit button, now only 2 fields are displayed in the edit view. This is because we copied all the views of products from the unit view folder. Now we will add the missing fields to the edit.cshtml. First, open the create.cshtml and copy the cost, price and units div from the create.cshtml. Then paste the copied text from the clipboard to the edit.cshtml. After that, we also want to show the code to the users. So change the code to read only from hidden field. To do this, copy the name div and paste it above. Then change all occurrences of the word name to code. After that, add read only attribute to the input of the code property. Then also remove the validation span element. Read only fields does not require validation spans. Next, go to the product controller and on the HTTP edit method, add the line viewback.units equals to get units. This is important, otherwise the unit select list will not be loaded properly. That's it. Let's run the application and check the edit view of the product. Select the item CD0001, I mean Fanta, for editing. Yes, it has loaded properly. Let's change the name to Fanta Small and then press the save button. Yes, the product is saved properly. Let's try with one more item. This time select CI0001 Dettol floor wash. After loading item in the edit view, change the cost to 4 and price to 9.5. Let's click save and see the effect. Wow, this is also saving properly. So far we have done create, read and edit actions of the Crud operations. The main point to note here is we are doing all this using the foreign key, using the repository pattern. That's the beauty of this tutorial. Next, let's do the delete and details module also. Both the modules are very similar. So first, let's open the edit.cshtml, copy the HTML form from the edit.cshtml and paste it to the details.cshtml as shown. Then after, remove the submit button from the details.cshtml. Instead, Add a HTML link with bootstrap class btn-primary and set the ASP-action to edit and ASP-root-id to code. Next, remove the ASP-action from the form because we are not going to submit this form. After that, remove all validation spans from the HTML because this is going to be a read-only form. Then delete the UnitID select list and instead of that select list, insert the input for units.name. After this, add read-only attribute to all the input controls of the detail.cs HTML. Now the product details view is loaded properly, but with two issues. The first one is the input controls width is very long, and second one is the unit name is not displayed. This is because at the time of fetching the product details, we are not including the unit item in it. So let's go to the product repo. Let's fix both the issues. To fix the first issue, insert div after the form tag and set the class to call-4 and nest all the other divs of the form in this. Then to fix the second issue, open the product repository.cs and in the getItem method, include the unit entity in the link statement. Now save and run the application. Let's select the item and open it in the view mode. Notice now the unit is displayed properly, and also if you want to edit, just click the edit to load the product in the edit mode. Okay, everything is fine now, but one small issue in the screen. Above the unit input control, the caption is showing as unit ID, which is not right. It's supposed to show simply as unit. I think by this time you would have known how to do this. But still, I will show you. Go to the product model and to the unit ID property, add the attribute display and set the value as unit to the name parameter of the display attribute. Let's save and run the application. After that, open any product in edit or details mode. Notice now the caption for the unit input control is showing properly as unit. So we are done with the details module now. Let's do the delete module and wind up. Since delete module is very similar to the details module, open the details module and copy the form to the clipboard. Then open the delete.cs HTML and then paste the copied text here. Actually, I missed to change the model binding of this file to product. Of course, everybody misses. So let's change the model binding to product now. Then delete the edit link button and insert the submit button in that place. After that, delete the old code of the delete.cs HTML. Then set the ASP-action of form to delete. That's it. Save and run the application. Select the delete link button for any item. Yes, now the delete screen is loaded properly. Let's press the delete button to permanently delete the product. Oh, error. But there is no enough information to understand it. So let's go to the product controller and pass the inner expression from the error handling block. After that, again do the same action. Now we get the complete error message. Cannot insert the value null into the column description of the units table because description column does not allow null values. This is really a weird error. We are trying to delete the product here, but why it is trying to insert a row in the units table? I am also confused. Let's find it out. The problem here is we fetched the product along with the unit. So EF core records this in the tracker, and at the time of deleting the product, EF core tries to add the unit, which is not possible and results in the error. To overcome this, I have written a private method in the product repo named pGetItem, P for private. This method will fetch only the product and does not include any foreign key values in it. After that, in the delete method, I am calling this pGetItem and setting product variable to result of this pGetProduct method before attaching the product to the context.products. Now let's run the application and try to delete the item. Now there is no error and the record is successfully deleted from the table because this time EF core has tracked only the product table, so no confusion. Actually, these all are little advanced approach of EF core and really not used in the lab projects. This is only used when you are stuck in a real-time project where we never know what the client's requirements will be. Believe me, it is very difficult to win the clients. Okay guys, I am giving a lot of production stuffs through my channel. In return, all I expect from you is likes, shares, comments and the subscriptions. So please do subscribe and comment. This product module is very lengthy and difficult to complete in one video because lot of things needs to be added in the module. So please stay tuned to the channel. Soon part 2 will be released for this. Thank you.